Hi guys, and welcome back to Wade's Workshop. Where are we? A couple of new bits and bobs arrived. A box of 200 M4x12 Allen bolts, Zorro, £4. That's the 200 M4x12 Allen bolts, so happy days. And while I was on Zorro, I spoiled myself and did actually buy myself a little Noga deburring tool. So yeah, a genuine Noga one. Surprised me, what is it? It says on the box somewhere. Yeah, made in Israel. I didn't know that. There we are. So we've learned something new. So let's move on and get on with the project. So simple little setup. Blocks are all squared up into size now. I want a row of holes, tapped holes in both sides. This is what I've done earlier. Row of, well, they're actually just spot drilled. So that one's done. I've set up a datum on this corner against the block. So 10, 80, 160, 230. So yeah, I'm basically just spotting these. Direct reading off the DRO. So that was 10. $80. Decided on 4 screws to hold it together, 4 screws in each face. So that's 160. Only one setup with this, to just change part. And 230. And nearly there. That's just going to get the holes accurately in position. There's 230. I'll just pop the part out the vise now. Swap him over the other way. Up against the stop again. And yeah, basically 230. You get the picture. Back the other way now to 160. There. And 80. They're not quite equal about, but they're nice round figures equal about. And back to 10. A bit more. Okay, so that's the 8 holes positioned. Oh, I must remember, keep the end, a little X on it. Make sure I haven't messed this up. No, that's right, X. So I know that's the datum end. So now that we've got the hole positions marked, I just pick up on them, basically use the mill table as drill press. I've got the readout on the quill, so I know I want these 15 mil deep, just to give me plenty of space, which is there. .3 drill, tapping drill for M4. Needs a bit of WD on there, I think, stop it rolling up. And final little job. Little chamfer on all the holes. So I'm using the same datum, this corner. Workpiece is against the fixed jaw of the vise, it's up off the bed, and against the same end stop. It's on parallels and clamped basically to the table, so all I'm using the vise for in this instance is the backstop, the fixed reference. And obviously my my vise wouldn't open that big anyway, but I've just undone the screw and popped the jaw off. So yeah, I mean, same datums again, without moving anything. 4mm spotted drill. There's my 230. What was the next one? 160. Jeez. There. Just enough clearance over the vise, I think, there. And these are going to be nice clearance holes on the 5mm bolts I'm going to use, 4mm bolts I'm going to use, sorry. Let's just wait from the other end, stop banging the tripod. So we'll be going to 80. Yeah. Of course I'm going to move across here and do these at the same time. I just have to work out what the centres are. Here's my 80. And then let me just come around the tripod. Back to 0, or 10 I should say, not 0, which is there. Okay, so I need to step across now, or step back that way. I'm not sure if I got the travel, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So I did just have the travel. 92mm was the distance, so yeah, and put the spotting drill down these ones as well. Again, same reference point. So, same method again, same setup, same spacings, it's got to line up. Yeah, basically. What number was it on? 160. That is there. I'm just putting some countersinks in now by hand, or counterbores I should say, for the Allen bolts. 4.2 deep, so they're just below surface. Again, I've got the DRO set on a quill. So there's the, should we call it a box, put together. Allen bolts in here, countersunk, with a bit of wiggle room. Front face on. I've just put a couple of machine screws in the four corners for now with a screwdriver. I'm running out of Allen bolts, but that's not a problem. Right, I'm going to want, because these two holes here are the two bolt holes, which bolted on the end of the table. I'm going to want to be able to access the two Allen bolts with the, where is it? With the appropriate key through the front here. So I'll have a quick measure up of the Allen key. I want to also block the holes off when they're not being used, so we don't get swarf in there. So I'm going to make them tapped holes and put some grub screws in them when they're not being used, so I can adjust where I want to be. And then once it's all locked up, whack a couple of grub screws in, and it'll stop it, stop any swarf going in. Right, okay. So I suppose the simplest method: spot down through the top here to get myself a mark, and then drill them out whatever I decide they've got to be. Just pick up on that hole, 6.5, which when I drilled it out, I'll just give myself a mark on the front face. Same with that one. I think I could probably get away with M6 grub screws in here. I think the Allen key will pass through a 5mm hole quite easily. I'm not sure. Hold on. Just check. What is it across flats? 4.4? Yeah. So I think if I drill and tap them, M6, we should be there. Going into the slot in the table. We don't want to be drilling holes. Let's just that'll work. So as per usual. Gonna want a little chamfer. I think next plan of attack is going to be power feed on the Z. But yeah, purely because, well, why not? But let's see how this one goes first. So I've marked a little hole on the top here with a centre pop. Roughly, well, not roughly, exactly above where the little oil port is, where I want to be able to get my oil feed bottle down. I plan on drilling it out with a M8 tapping drill, and then that will allow me to tap it and fit an M8 grub screw, so that when I'm not using it I can put the grub screw in. Here we are. Put a grub screw in there and stop any muck. I'm going to get a bit of an intermittent cut when I break through, so I'm going to have to hang on to this. Yeah, so I don't get any muck down in the down through the hole. So it's a short period. I'm going to have a half. There it is. Just hang on to it. There we go. Basically, because this wall thickness here is thicker than this, so for a short while, maybe 2 millimeters or so, it was only drilling on half of the point of the drill. So right, M8 tap that hole, ready for a grub screw, and my oiler, my oil bottle, as you can see, will fit down through there to get to the oiler, no worries. So I think we'll have a little chamfer on there. Oh, I could use my little Noga tool for that, couldn't I? Perfect. So, plan is, got the motor on, got the pulley on the motor just loose, I've got one grub screw in, just fitted. Put the belt over that, and I put the hand wheel through the hole in the outer cover. So that's located it roughly. So now, I can line up the rotation to get the hand wheel to fit on there. And then take some of the new screws. I'll just get a first screw in, as it were. There's one. Okay, I'll just get 4 corners started, I think. So here's the second one. Am I in the way there? I don't know. Oops. A little bit fiddly, but we're alright. Where are you? There you go. Okay. Yeah, I think I'll just put 4 corners in nipped, and then of course I can push back that way to tension. Everything looks good so far. I'm just checking for clearance. Nothing rubbing there. Something touching. I'm going to have a look at this in a minute. I may have to do a little adjustment. It might be that hand wheel's not fully on. Let's tighten these. Just think it's got to go that way more. And I can see. I feel I got too much slack in the belt at present. I'm going to get a couple more screws. Just seen a mistake here. I can't get that bolt in, and I can't get that bolt in. Might have to have a little rethink. So I've just been wondering, before I take it apart and sort out how I'm going to put those bolts in, what was rubbing. And it turns out it's the little bolt that holds this little hand wheel on, sticks out the back a couple of millimeters, and it's just rubbing on the aluminium here. So simple fix. But yeah, at least I know what that was. So I've been messing about with this for half an hour, at least half an hour. I've got a sub-assembly, shall we say, put together there. The motor's all bolted down, front face is all bolted down, including the screws I couldn't get to. I could actually get to them through the little handle wheel here, but that's another story. So what I'm going to do, I've got the 2 bolts. Ooh, I did have, hold on. The 2 bolts that bolted onto the bed, sticking out, they're already in place. So if I bring it round, I'll get the shaft lined up on the key, which is there. I should be able to just line it up. Hopefully those bolts didn't fall out. This one did. The other one didn't, thankfully. That's the hard one to get to. So I can come in through this hole. Let's see where I am a second. Not quite. Let's get this one started first. Bolt the whole assembly on. Let's get that one started. This one, I just need to lift a little. There it goes. Just make sure I'm in the right place. Now I've missed the bolt. Let me just push the bolt into the hole with a smaller Allen key. A bit of a fiddle. That's better. Right, that's that one started. Do with some regular Allen keys for this. But you get the picture. So that's now in there. The belt isn't quite tight, but I can push the whole assembly back on these two bolts to tension the belt up. And I'll just get it to a nip point. Let me get a better Allen key. Okay, so I just say it'll be coming off again. If I push that back that way to tension the belt, I can now tighten that screw. And that one. I've taken the handle out. That feels nice. The only thing I haven't done, just check that it's all pulled up, so I'll do that now. Let's just hold the handle the other end. Okay. That's sweet. Okay, final job. Just going to put the right Allen key, put the little blanking screws back in those holes, stops the wolf going in there. There's the other one, there it is. Oops. When I tapped these holes, I didn't tap them all the way through. I just left them a little bit shy. So the grub screws lock out when they come to the bottom. So I need to shorten this screw now. I'm sure I got another one of these somewhere. This may not be the one that came out of there. Let's have a look. Ah, I know why they're too long. It's just come to me. I thinned this down, didn't I? The thickness of the handle. That's why the bolts are now too long. Okay. Right, so moving on a little, let me just show you where we are. Cables come out the back of the motor and they're going to be in the way, you know, a problem. So I've got, there's a leg off an old tripod. It's got a little rubber cap there, which fits in, or plastic cap I should say, which locks into the end. So I've put a bit of heat shrink cable over the 4 wires. There's a couple of layers of it on there. If I feed those wires down through there, let's just get them most of the way there. Right, there we are, somewhere like that. I can feed the 4 wires through a hole which I've drilled in the back plate here. Okay, we'll try. And then basically with a bit of jiggery pokery. That'll just about, hold on, without chopping the cables, he says. Right, there we go. That'll fit there. That will fit there. And I just need to fasten that down onto the motor now. And I've got the little hot melt glue gun is on the way. We're getting somewhere near now. Is it hot enough? So a piece of cardboard. Oh yeah, we're there. So I'll just good line of it under there, into position. I think I'll have a line down either side. Okay, I think for luck we'll have a bit around the bottom there as well. Okay, get rid of my stringy bits. That is there. So we saw that bit, that's all solid now, and the wires are poked through the bottom, and I've moved on. Let me show you and bring you in here. So I've got a little 4-pin socket outlet, sheet of aluminium screwed onto the end. The cables come out. There's a cable tie here which goes through 2 little holes. If I ever need to remove this end cover, I've got to cut that cable tie, and that gives me slack in these cables to be able to remove it for maintenance, belts, whatever I want to do. So that's the plan. So now the final point is I can now have a removable pin and socket on the end. This is just a piece of sheet aluminium drilled with 4 holes in the corners, so my motor connection can be removed. So yeah, that's just a standard 4-pin socket, soldered inside. Where are we? Can you see? Yeah, solder connections with the 4 wires. Of course I'm going to have to remember the orientation of the wires so I can match up colour for colour. Bit of heat shrink on the end just for safety. Little cable tie because they were flopping about a bit, and well out of the way of the, where is it? Yeah, when the drive belt's in position, no worries at all, plenty of space. So moving on. So I've just plugged into my electronics on a sort of test run status. I've got my 24 volt power supply here, which is plugged into the 230 volt mains. This supplies 24 volts to the stepper controller and to the PWM as well. So there's 24 volts going to this and to this. So 24 volts powers these up. The motor is connected via its lead, the plug and socket as you saw earlier on, into the stepper controller. And now this, which is a PWM, tells the stepper controller what to do. So I've basically got an on-off switch, a direction switch, and a variable potentiometer on the front, which tells it how fast I want to go. So, yeah, I have been fiddling with it. I've got 3 speed ranges on here, and I'm on the slowest. Various switches you can change on here, which is the amount of pulses per revolution, and I've had a fiddle with those as well to get the best balance, so we don't get lockout on the motor. So if I turn on, at the minimum speed, that's what we get, which is ridiculously slow, really. I mean, it's a really, really slow pace. And I can speed up to, well, probably faster than I'd normally wind it by hand, which is, I mean, this sort of range would be the normal speed I'd be driving at. And of course, I can also go the other way. I can crash reverse it as long as I'm not going flat out. Yeah, if I try and accelerate too quickly, I have slight problems. So I'm still playing with the settings on the switches on here and the switches on here to stop that. That slight rattling you can hear is this handle. Hear it? So I'm going to be building a new handle, I think. Okay. So as it stands at the moment, I'll just disconnect that 24 the power lead. Disconnect from the mill on my little plug and socket here. And the whole lot will be taken away. And I now need to make a box to put that lot in. And I have got, let me show you. Oh, coming back in. A great big plastic enclosure. It's probably way too big, but the stepper controllers, I could probably fit 3 in here. The power supply is more than big enough, so I could probably fit 3 stepper controllers in here. So if I want to in the future sort of upgrade it to 3-axis power feed, or even, you know, if I were to change all the lead screws and what have you, change it to CNC, the possibility is there. So yeah, future proofing, but there is room for another stepper driver, and I already know I'm going to be doing the X-axis on this, sorry, the Z-axis. Well, there we are, guys. I think that's probably about enough for this episode. I am thinking about mounting the little switches for the control board remotely. Maybe I'll mount the control board in there. I'd like to get a stronger, bigger potentiometer, something, you know, that's going to take a bit more hassle than that little one on there, a bit more abuse. Perhaps some remote toggle switches. I've got some toggle switches here to replace the little tiny switches on the board. Yeah, it's a work in progress as far as the electrics are concerned, but you've seen the basic system. People keep asking me for links to all these bits and bobs. I think the best thing I can do is get it to a point where I'm happy with everything and all the components that I purchased, and then when I know it's going to work, you know, everything going to work first time, then basically I'll put a whole list of links up of all the mechanical, electrical parts that I've bought to do the job. I wouldn't want to sort of share each little pulley as we go along, because I may change them. There may be something that doesn't work, and I don't want you to be stuck with the wrong pulley as well, that sort of idea. So I'll put a massive list of links up, probably at the end of the project, and then anyone wants to do it, they can do it, whether they want to pick their own way or what have you, but people do keep asking for links, so that's the answer to that. So, as we always say, thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for subscribing, and we'll see you all very soon. Cheers now.